Hey everyone, welcome to the weekly selection. For this week, I got a bunch more names than usual. So from last week, KDP is still here. I expect it to go as high as 34 over the next couple of weeks, something like this. Also has earnings on the 27th, so Thursday. I have a position in this one and it's running. I will probably take some profit before on earnings day due to the IV pump, and then we'll see. Pat was flat for the week, don't care. So I'm moving this in. I have four categories: short-term bullish, short-term bearish, long-term bearish, and long-term bullish. So I'm moving this one into short-term bullish. So, like I said, the expectation is that we keep going up, even if earnings are not horrible. Earnings just have to be not horrible, even if it causes a red day. I don't think it will stick. Maybe we go back to 32 or something, but should keep going up. Then GE is short-term bearish, UPS short-term bearish, O'Reilly short-term bearish, and we'll talk about them. But let's talk about short-term bullish. So Oracle, it keeps getting some decent positive flows. Nothing extraordinary, but decent. This seems very similar to the CRM setup we had a couple of weeks back, like this, and we broke out. So keep an eye out on Oracle. If it moves, first target is actually the only target is this. If it goes above 127, this one. This is at all-time high, so the sky's the limit. I don't know how high it will go, but the minimum we will see, I think, is 127 if we break out to the upside. If it goes down, we have this gap fill here, which is the target. Let's use the same kind of line. So upside target, downside target is just a short-term play. Of course, it could go down lower or it could go up higher, but it's a short-term play, so we don't care. Biogen. So Biogen has earnings on Tuesday, and I'm liking the look at this. Again, it depends on earnings, but if we see a breakdown, I don't expect it to be very big. This is very similar to this situation right before the previous earnings or after the previous earnings. And we had a falling wedge then as well. Let's see, like this. And we broke down. So if we break down here, I would expect it to go to 267 and then bounce strongly just like this. So it's a fake breakdown basically. So a fake breakdown would look something like this, and it goes up here, uh, or a simple breakout because of earnings would just take us here. So my target is this 294.95, regardless of what happens for earnings. If this goes down, I think it's a buy at around 267, if not 260. Don't think we go that low. And I think it actually goes up. If we have a breakout, this could also happen on Monday. So breakouts happen before the earnings if the expectation is good. So target is 294, 94, yeah, 95. Then Farfetch. Farfetch had some decent bullish flows. On lower time frame is looking quite nice, like this. So it should break out and go for new highs. Pretty simple. Target is this 7 point something. Tilray. Tilray has a nice bullish flag going for it. This is no earnings. So Tilray earnings on Thursday. This looks like a bottom of a range. Like we haven't a range that would look like this for a while, and we are at the bottom of a range. And expectation is that it goes to 233 or something like that. Again, earnings, watch out for earnings. 150 is likely going to be support if we have a negative reaction, but I think it's more likely we get a positive reaction and go to 234. GME, I posted this one and looks like a breakdown during the day, but it reacted positively to the AMC spike as well. And now this is a fake breakdown. And fake fake breakdowns are the most bullish counter moves. So I expect this will now break out and move higher. Target is 28. Yeah, that's it. Charge point, big big consolidation pattern. Either we are at range lows. I expect this will break out as well, and it will be bullish over the next couple of months with a target of 12. UNH, this is a flows move. Have to get used to double clicking this. The flow is not this one, this one. So it was a 2.4 million flow, 6% out of the money, which is pretty big for UNH. So 540, 145 days out for December, and it's at a threshold, a breakout threshold. If it does break out, could see more consolidation here, and then go to 550. This seems quite plausible. Just think it needs a bit more consolidation, so it might not happen next week, but I think it will happen relatively soon. Then we have Gilead, which was also a flows move. Not that big, but it's 8% out of the money, so 87.5, 26 days out, and it's let's put it here, something like this, and earnings next week as well. No, sorry, not next week, the following week. Um, Here to Gilead. So relatively small, but multiple follow-ups for it, and it's a name that doesn't see call flow very often. So even this is significant for it. And what is significant mostly is how high out of the money it is. Like you almost never see out of the money activity for this kind of names. You see like 1%, 2% out of the money, or usually at the money flows. So the fact that we get an 87 call and it's short dated and earnings coming up is quite significant. Let's put some levels to it. One. Yeah, let's put this one as well. As always, mind earnings. This was a breakout, so with some big overshoots here. So mind your entry, something like a small pullback here, and we should keep seeing this. This one I forgot to add, which was key, which had this flow here. Uh, it's basically buy 13, sell 16, and they sold at midpoint. And again, what's unusual about this one is the fact that it's so far out of the money. So it's 13% out of the money, which you don't see often in banks. And key was looking like this. If you remember from yesterday, what I said for Cree that I want to do is this, have this backtest here, and this is what I hope we see for key as well. So we continue the pullback at 11, and then we have the next leg up, and it goes up to that level. Actually, 13 was this one, so the gaps start around here, something like this. So yeah, then let's move on to the berry stuff. That's all for flows. Flows weren't that exciting this week. The most interesting one already played out. It was uh, Marley, whatever the fuck that is called, and it came around here and then continued to drop. It was a put flow. Most likely they will do bad for earnings. Then we have, not based on flows, based on TA. First of all is GE, and this sideways move on our side looks horrible. It's about to break the trend. It has earnings coming up, so that's the only question mark about how bearish this will be. Even if it goes up, I think 116 is the top, and then it will get rejected. So even on a move up, I think this is a short. And as soon as it breaks the uptrend here, I think it goes to retest this one. So that's likely going to be somewhere in this area, like 98, 95 would be my target, something like this. So somewhere in this area is where I would expect it to stop. So on an earnings push, it would be this, get rejected, go below, then slowly go down, and I don't know, even 100, depends how quickly it goes down. I drew it a bit lengthy here. It will be more likely like something like this. This is August 8th, so it has time to go probably even faster than that, and then bounce and go higher. We don't or go back up. Don't know for sure. Then we have UPS as a at a threshold as well, maybe for the breakout potential. But given the situation with the potential strike for UPS and them losing activity, I don't think UPS is bullish. So expectation is that we get rejected and we start going down. I think earnings will be a negative catalyst for UPS as well. So it remains to be seen, but I don't see UPS breaking out, and it's a possible short with a potential overshoot up to 197. And then go down. There's lots of levels here, but I think if something goes wrong with the potential for the strike or earnings are bad, this fails catastrophically. Like it goes back to 150, 156 there. O'Reilly. So I put O'Reilly on my list a couple of times in the past as well. Um, huge divergence. This also at the higher level between this and this, also at the lower level between these 3 points here. And I think it will finally have a breakdown. The most similar thing to O'Reilly is actually Ulta, which had this ascending wedge as well. It's long term, something like this. And when it broke down, it absolutely cratered. Uh, we don't care about this yet. And O'Reilly is due to do the same thing. So I think this will turn into a slam dunk short. It will not play out fast, but when it goes too fast, it will be fast. So I expect a big what the fuck happened? I expect a drop to the trend line. Maybe it bounces one more time, I don't know, and goes back up. But when it eventually loses this trend line, it will absolutely crater. I think we go down to here, 743. This would be the level where we find the first considerable support. Uh, Again, don't know when this will happen. Actually, I'm short-term bearish on it, but let's put it at long-term bearish because for the potential that it drops. I think it's likely that a potential event is earnings next week. If those are bad and we lose this trend line, all hell will break loose for O'Reilly, and it could happen. It could happen now. Like goes this, does this, and then just absolutely craters like Ulta did. MACD. Similar setup here. You remember from yesterday's video that XLI kind of cratered. McDonald's is looking very, very toppy. Same look as O'Reilly. Another rejection here. Earnings next week, and we'll see what happens. But I think it's a lot more likely that this breaks down and has a big drop than that it goes up. I don't see it breaking out. I only see it going down. And again, this will be a large breakdown and should go to 270. This area, this top here. This is my expectation for McDonald's. It's very. I think earnings will trigger it as well. LLY, Eli Lilly, it's looking rough. So this lower high pattern for RSI gave us a couple of drops. So it gave us this first one, then a second one here, and now this looks like a final top. Um, the free attempt pattern, the third attempt will cause a breakdown, and we are very, very close to it. Also has earnings like everyone else, but in August, so it might not happen immediately, but I still see it as weak, and I think earnings will find it more close to this trend line, and it will just cause the breakdown to happen. Target, because it's big, it's this area 370, 375, and let's put this one in longer term bearish as well. But I don't like this at all. This looks horrible, and I think it will it will drop a lot. The QS, this played out okay, still bearish. Earnings, I think this 840 area is the target, and once we reach it, it's fine to get out. RH, initially it had a drop on Monday, it was good and went up again, but it's divergent. So we're still in the books for that bigger drop uh, down to at least 350, something like this to 330. It's the area between these two lines. This we saw our Airbnb. So Airbnb actually broke out on Friday. I don't know if it's gonna be for good or not, and I think earnings will be bad for them. The main reason why I was very sure this is this there was a 50 million put flow for January 2025 at 140, and I think this was the day as well on July 13th. That is still in play, but there's a lot of time on it, and yeah, it might not impact it immediately. We'll see what happens with earnings. NIC stays the same. They had this 4 million put flow for January 2024 previously. Then XP, I got this one completely wrong. It actually broke out, and I now think this is super bullish and has a target of 35. So it won't just go straight up there. I think slow and steady, some pullbacks, still goes, and eventually we'll get to 35. Then for the long-term bullish stuff, I think Walgreens is close to a bottom. Uh, Still has some consolidation to do. We'll see, but I think it will do a bit of this up more, and then eventually breaks out. And when it breaks out, it will go to at least 35. So this is not for next week. It's for potentially the next couple of weeks to keep an eye out on it and see when you find a good point, a buy point, and that's kind of it. Of course, it can go higher than this, but we take it one step at a time. We'll look at it again when the time comes. Same kind of situation with Target. It looks like it's bottoming here, or if not already made a bottom, but it's bottoming. Again, I expect a bit more consolidation in this pattern here until it eventually breaks out, and it should go to 150 once it decides to go up, if it decides to go up. If it goes down, these are the levels below. I think buy, it's a sure buy at 120, but we'll see. And I think Target, as opposed to Walgreens, will move faster. Uh, Target only has earnings on the 16th of August, so very, very late. And I think it may move before that. So if you see it break out of this pennant here to the upside, go for it. To the downside, I'm not too sure. Like I think it has limited downside unless some event happens. If there is no event, I don't think it can drop a lot. I would be buying at 125-ish, even if we retest this lower trend line. Okay, that's it for this week. Have a good one. Goodbye. Bye bye.